Today's video is featuring my cat in the background. She doesn't want to leave. She wants to sit right there. Using current and up-to-date pinning Pinterest practices is what is going to give you the best reach on Pinterest and the most clicks to your blog. The algorithm is always changing and you need to make sure you're changing your Pinterest pinning strategies to match. The first best pinning practice that I want to talk about is manual pinning. Now, I talk about manual pinning a lot, and that is because it is one of the best ways to get reach for your pins right now. You no longer need to use Tailwind anymore to pin onto Pinterest. Now, what I mean by manual pinning is when you create a pin and you pin it using the Pinterest scheduler. You can either schedule a pin with that, or you can just upload it right away. Either of those is going to count as manual pinning. Tailwind was good back in the day when the best pinning practices were to pin a ton of times a day. Back then, it was common to be pinning 20 to 50 times a day with a mix of your pins and other people's pins. Now you no longer need to be posting that much. The strategy now for how many times you want to be pinning a week is much lower, which in my opinion makes Pinterest marketing take a lot less time than it did before. I recommend that you only pin it 2 to 5 times per day. You don't really need any more than that. The quality of the pins matters a lot more than the quantity of the pins because Pinterest wants fresh pins onto their platform. Now there are a few different versions of what a fresh pin can be. The best version of a fresh pin is a new link, so a blog post that you have never shared before, a new pin design, and a new description. That is going to give you the best reach because it is something that Pinterest has never seen before. And since this is unrealistic to always be sharing brand new content onto the platform, there is a second best version of a fresh pin where you can share your old content. So that would be an old blog post link, a new design, and a new description. That is still considered a fresh pin. Let's also talk about where to pin your pins as well. How many boards should you be posting to? Let me show you my method. So I have all of my blog posts listed out here. I have the links, I have captions, I have the boards and the keywords that I'm using, and then I have the same thing over here for my YouTube videos. This is the sheet that I use to keep track of all of my Pinterest stuff. And if you want to get the sheet for yourself, it's really helpful for my Pinterest management. It saves so much time. I have a free downloadable link in the description if you want this for yourself. I just recently updated it, so you guys are going to get the most updated version of what I'm using currently. But I have around 5 to 6 boards for each of the posts here that I can pin to. I don't pin to all of these boards in 1 week all at once because I don't repin any of my pins. I usually pin around 3 times a day to my account, and I will create 3 different designs for the week. So let's say I created these 3 designs. I will pin design 1 to board 1, I will pin design 2 to board 2 on the list, and then I'll pin design 3 to the 3rd board on my list right here. After I'm done, I'll delete these 3 designs off my computer so that I don't accidentally pin them again the next week, because I only pin my pin designs 1 time and then I get rid of them off my computer. And then I go through this process week in and week out. I will pin to the 1st board, the 2nd board, and the 3rd board, and then the next week if I decide I want to pin that blog post again, I will go down the list and I will pin to the 4th board, 5th board, 6th board, however many boards that I have. Once I run out of boards to pin to, then I will go back to the 1st board on the list and start over. That way I am always constantly pinning pins to the different boards so that I can keep a bunch of different boards active all at once. Another place that you can pin to is group boards. As of right now, I'm not currently pinning to any group boards because I didn't see them being very helpful, but I've been hearing a little bit more about group boards and potentially them being helpful again. So I plan to join a couple and see how well they actually work. If you have group boards that are working for you, keep pinning to them. Those are good to pin to if they're working for you. And I'm going to be doing a little bit of experimenting myself, see how they work, and then I will let you guys know if group boards are worth it or not. The next Pinterest best practice is to be switching up your pin designs and titles in order to keep your pins fresh. The good thing about Pinterest is you don't have to stay on brand. In fact, it's actually encouraged that you go off brand occasionally. If you keep posting the same type of pin design with the same muted pink colors that you chose for your brand with the same exact title, Pinterest is going to get bored with pushing out that content. And if you notice your reach is going down a little bit and you're posting the same exact stuff, try switching it up a little bit. Post a pin with purple or blue, try a different design, try a different size pin, or even try a different title. You also don't want to use the same image too many times in a row if you can help it. If you can afford it, get a stock photo website or do what I recommend and get Canva Pro because they have a ton of different photos that you can use on their paid plan so that you can be constantly switching up your photos and keeping your designs interesting. In order to be in Pinterest's best graces and avoid getting marked as spam, you also want to watch out how many times you pin the same link in a row as well. Spamming the same link over and over again is likely going to get you marked as spam. So here's the strategy that I use. When I create a new blog post, I create 5 to 6 different designs the week that it comes out. These pins will get the most boost by Pinterest because they are the best form of a fresh pin. I'll pin those to my account for the next week and spread them out every few days. That keeps me from spamming the link and getting my account flagged. And the rest of the pins for the week are just a combo of old designs with new links, which is the second best form of a fresh pin. Now, there is no limit for the amount of times that you can pin a blog post or a link onto Pinterest. The only thing that you want to watch out for is how many times repeatedly you are pinning that link back to back. So a good rule of thumb is to wait 2 to 3 days before you pin the same link again, and you should be fine. There are also good times that you can be pinning to your account as well. And there are a few methods you can use to figure out which time is best to pin to your account specifically. If your target audience is asleep or at work, your pins are not going to get seen. So think about when your audience is active. The best time may be in the morning or at night when they're at home and on social media. Pinning at 3 a.m. probably isn't the best time to get good interaction. But you also want to consider time zones as well. Pinning at 3 a.m. your time might be a good time to pin because your audience could be hours ahead of you and it could be 9 a.m. their time. Now that's one way that you can do that, but that is not my preferred method. Instead of just guessing when my audience is online, I like to use Google Analytics. Let me show you how to do that. So if you log onto your Google Analytics and you go to your homepage and you just scroll down to the box that says users by time of day, this will tell you when people are on your site, and you can use this to determine when your audience is going to be active in the day. So let's say you want to pin on Monday. You want to go to the darker boxes on here because the darker the box, the more people are on your site at that time. So like right here, 6 a.m. on Monday, 7 people were on my site. If you look here, only 1 on 7 a.m. was there. And then the gray means there was 0 people on your blog at that time. So I would pin 6 a.m., 1 p.m., 4 p.m. Those would be the best times to pin for my blog. And you can change last 30 days. You can change a couple other presets here if you want to go back a little bit further. If maybe you don't have a lot of traffic to your blog at the moment, so a lot of these are grayed out, just go back a little bit further to 90 days, and then hopefully you'll have enough traffic that this will actually be useful for you. It is a super easy method to deciding when you should be pinning as opposed to just guessing. Pinterest is an ever-changing platform, and the strategies that you use are going to have to change with it. These are just some of the Pinterest best practices that I find are working well, but make sure you experiment with your account a little bit too and see what worked well for you. If you want more Pinterest content, I have a bunch which you can check out here or right here. Make sure to like this video if you liked and subscribe to my channel down below for more videos just like this. And I'll see you next week. Bye! Honey, you're really gonna make this difficult to record if you're sitting right behind me. Do you want to move? No? You want to stay there? And clean yourself. Right there. Okay, you can stay there. I can't do this seriously with you. In the background, taking a bath. I cannot seriously record this video with you just in the background. Like, people need to take me seriously, and you're just... Stop! Oh my god. Really?